everyone! This is my first video about my vegan story and journey. I apologize in advance. I have a note sheet here so I can try to not ramble during this video, even though it's destined to happen. Also, disclaimer, I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form. I have only been vegan for under a year. I'm simply here to tell you my story and educate you to my capability at this moment. I'm a vegan teenager. I thought my perspective would be worthy of sharing. I am always welcome questions and conversation, so please do so in the comments down below or at my Instagram at Abby Rose. I will have it right here. There's periods in between the words. It's right here. You can read it. It's also in the description down below. If you're new here, my name is Abby. I am 15 years old. I have been vegetarian for almost 3 years. I've been vegan for almost a year. I want to share my story to veganism. I also bravely fight many chronic illnesses. I also want to make it clear that I do not have these chronic illnesses because I am vegan. I've had these chronic illnesses way before I even knew what veganism was, like 6+ years ago. I also want to make it clear that being vegan has improved my physical and mental health in ways that I could have never imagined. Because of my gastroparesis and intestinal dysmotility, meaning that my stomach and my intestines don't work the way they should, I do not eat the same amount that a normal person does. Fun fact, by the way, I hate the word normal. I do eat orally, not as much as everybody else, but I do try to maintain my stomach function as much as possible. Obviously, it causes symptoms and problems, but I still try to eat to maintain some of my function in my stomach and intestines. Like I said, what I do eat orally is 100% vegan, and what I do not eat orally, meaning via my GJ, there it is, GJ tube, is also 100% vegan. Just in case you don't know, I use an amazing formula called, you're not gonna be able to see, called Kate Farms. It is 100% vegan. Like I said, free of so many allergens, and my body tolerates it amazingly. I cannot even describe this to you. It is such an incredible feeling knowing that I can align my medical needs with my moral values. I'm telling you, whether you're vegan or not, it is a remarkable formula with a remarkable story behind it. I've tried Peptamen, Elecare, Nutrin, the list goes on, and none of them have made me feel even close to how good I feel on Kate Farms. I use the Kate Farms peptide formula, meaning that it is broken down because of my intolerance to formulas, and I get fed via my jejunum with a pump, and this formula works wonders. It works wonders with my NJ tube, NG tube. I have friends who use it via the G, via the J. The shakes are wonderful. I highly recommend this brand. It is incredible. Anyway, the link is down below. That's all I have to say. It's great. It's vegan. I love it. That's all I have to say. I will be making many videos about my vegan journey. I am very passionate about it. I will also be making many videos about other activism things that I participate in. That's down in the future. I thought I'd start with this. So, some of those videos will include how I became vegetarian, how I became vegan, being vegan with chronic health issues, the argument of going vegan versus continuing to be a meat eater, and so much more. But for now, I'll answer a few of my most asked questions in the most concise form possible. And yes, these questions will also be answered more in depth in future videos. So to start off, a question I get asked very frequently is, why'd you go vegan? What made you go vegan? What motivated you? It's a big change. How did you start? All that kind of thing. The short answer of it is for the animals, my health, and for the environment. The long of that answer is simply too long to answer in one video, but I'll start. Here's the short of it. I simply could not live with myself knowing that the food I was using to fuel my body was sacrificing another perfect, helpless, God-given being. I could not picture or want to picture what fear, pain, torture, and murder that being went through. To think that this living, breathing being, helpless and fearful, was getting abused and murdered for our selfish needs destroyed me. It was especially bothersome when I found out that better alternatives existed. I thought, why are we eating these beings who have feelings, needs, wants? Why are we killing them, abusing them, murdering them, paying people to kill them for us when alternatives exist? Especially when the alternatives are healthier for our bodies, healthier for our brains, our hearts, skin, everything. It makes no sense to me. Before I went vegetarian or vegan, I used to call myself a person who teaches and practices peace and love. How can I say that when I'm contributing to the biggest form of cruelty and murder that exists? I simply could not. I was the biggest hypocrite. I knew that needed to change. I have gastroparesis and intestinal dysmotility, like I said. Many chronic illnesses go along with that as well. I've had these long before I've learned about what a vegetarian vegan diet was. These diseases that constantly impact my body were being drastically worsened by my diet choices. Not only did I know that, but my doctors and dietitians knew that too. I was eating loads of hamburgers, chicken breasts, ice creams, tacos, other dairy products with little to no balance of fruit and veggies because at the time our concern was about me putting on weight and managing my weight. And we thought that that was the best way to do it. Eat whatever I possibly could that would try to make my body not react. And that simply is not the best way to do it. We later learned that for my body, and many other bodies, that's simply not the case. Yes, I needed to put on weight fast. I needed to put on a lot of weight fast. But little did I know that by eating those things, it was making it a lot harder for my body to put on weight. And of course, at the time, my gastroparesis and intestinal motility were a ton better, and I had little to no disease progression. And I was getting 100% of my calories via oral nutrition, meaning I was eating all of my calories. I researched and researched, especially after my dear friend Michelle, and if you're on Facebook, you know who I'm talking about. Michelle informed me about her diet. I learned that if I was going to try, at the time, to avoid feeding tubes and TPN, that was before my disease progression, by the way. I thought I could get away with doing without using feeding tubes and TPN. I was wrong. I realized I would have needed to change my eating habits, so I did. But I did it very slowly, like I'm talking over years, because I knew that if I did it fast, my body would be like, ah, what is going on? So I didn't do that. At first, it was eliminating all red meat. That includes anything from a cow, pig, lamb, etc. You get the gist of it. Things like steak, hamburgers, bacon, pork, sausage, and for some people, lamb. Thankfully, I didn't eat lamb, but for some people, they do, and that's something that they would have to eliminate. Eliminating red meat was not difficult for me at all. I supplemented with vegetarian meat replacers like Morningstar products. So here's a picture of it right here. And beans and nuts. I also added more carbs like pastas, rices, and breads. At the time, fruits and veggies were a very small part of my diet, unlike now. Not only did my GI tract improve, my skin, hair, nails got so much stronger and healthier, so much redder. My curl pattern increased. Right now this is like day 3, but you can see the vibrancy in my hair. My brain, I eliminated so much brain fog. I felt so much clearer. I felt so much livelier and happier. My heart and blood pressure improved and so much more. I will insert a before and after picture of what my skin, here's my skin, looks like now and how it looked before when I had cystic acne all over my face.
So, hey everybody, I just wanted to go over my pictures really quick. This was my skin as a meat eater. As you can see, by both sides of my nose, it's cystic. By both sides, it's where it always came. It always came on the sides of my nose. In this photo, it's on my forehead, on my right cheek. You can see it looks really big. On this photo, it's all over my forehead. It's really dark, but I promise you, it's still there. My skin and hair as a vegetarian, I had no more cystic acne. As you can see, it was just acne, moderate to severe regular acne. Again, on my forehead, on the sides of my nose, areas where I got it. My curl pattern was starting to come back, but not as much as I would have loved it to. Here's a picture of it really coming back, still not quite there yet. My skin really is starting to clear up as I started eliminating all dairy products, and then my skin and hair as a vegan. I definitely wear makeup, but you can see my skin's perfectly clear. My hair is vibrant and curly. My skin is as soft and as luscious as it's ever been. As you can see here, my skin is clear. My skin is clear, even though I'm still wearing foundation. It's not enough to cover here. My hair, my curl pattern came back. As you can see, it's a drastic difference. The vibrancy in my hair in this photo and my skin, and obviously the curls in this photo also.
Obviously, next was limiting poultry and fish. Fish was never really a part of my diet, including when I was very young. I would have the occasional shrimp, but that's about it. Nothing that was like no salmon, no actual fish. I just never really enjoyed it. Chicken, on the other hand, was extremely difficult for me to remove out of my diet. I would eat chicken daily, multiple times a day. I would get a chicken breast and eat whatever carbs I wanted to with that. Before I completely eliminated chicken, I started with adding vegetarian Morningstar chicken nuggets, which are delicious, by the way. Not vegan, but they're delicious. Here's a picture of that. And I also used Gardein chicken replacers, which are vegan, and that's what these look like. Which, by the way, they are absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend. I use it with Famous Dave's barbecue sauce, which is vegan, Annie's mustard, Grey Poupon, ketchup, anything like that. Mayo, vegan mayo, not regular mayo. Vegan mayo looks like this, etc. You get the gist. On the other hand, yes, I struggle with the thought that these items weren't going to be in my diet, but I severely struggled with the idea that I was contributing to the murder of helpless, precious chickens and turkeys. I know for me, I had a revelation, an aha moment, if you want to call it that. A lot of vegetarian and vegan people I know have these aha moments. And boy, oh boy, did I have one. I had a big one, an emotional one, a heart-wrenching, gut-turning one. And it changed my life forever. Here is that story. Like I said before, when I'm trying to educate and teach people about things, I tell them my story. So here's my story. Here's a little disclaimer. The discussion with my parents is for you to get a gist of the conversation we had that night. Obviously, the wording is completely inaccurate. It was many years ago. I can't remember the exact wording. It was around the fall of 2013, around September-ish. It was one night where my mom, my dad, me, and Oscar were all eating chicken and rice. At the time, a family favorite, chicken and rice. We got around to the topic of animal activism. Something that I thought at the time I was deeply devoted and passionate about. Now, of course, I couldn't imagine myself more devoted or passionate to it. But anyways, we were talking about it. How I wanted to be a vet, how I wanted to make a difference in the animal community, how I wanted to volunteer with rescue shelters and vets. They then proceeded to ask me what species and specialty. I said, I don't want to discriminate. I wanted, and still want to, be like Dr. Pohl. If any animal needs help, I'll help it. I said I'm very interested in neurology and surgery. I'm also very interested in dermatology and behavior. The point is, I like many different specialties. They asked, so you're willing to do large animal? And I said, of course. My dad then asked me, so you realize you'll have to go to meat and dairy farms to treat animals that are being used for production of product. My mouth had never opened wider than it did in that moment. I looked down at my plate and thought, this was a mother's offspring. This was a farmer's animal. This could have been a vet's patient, someone they worked on, was sitting here, chopped up, cooked and seasoned on my plate. This was a being, a priceless, special, worthy, God-given being. A being that was once a child and is now a food. A food that I was eating that came from this being. We paid someone to murder this being. We made recipes to make this being taste better. Literally, a piece of flesh, blood, muscle, fat on our plate that we eat because of tradition, convenience, taste, habit, and ignorance. This quote is from veganoutreach.com, and I'll link it down below, but it gives a great perspective as to why people don't become vegan. It reads, "We must always remember that people are looking for a reason to ignore us. No one sits around thinking, wow, I want to give up my favorite foods and be different from my friends and family. No one thinks that. Anyone who has been vegan for more than a few minutes knows that there's many roadblocks, habit, tradition, convenience, taste, familiarity, peer pressure, etc. that keep people from opening their hearts and minds to the animal's plight. Knowing this, we can't give anyone any reasons to ignore the terrible and unnecessary suffering on factory farms and in slaughterhouses." Think about that. This being that was on my plate, that I was eating, that I was drinking, could have been taken away from its mother, like in the dairy industry. A being that could feel, think, have emotion, breathe, play, eat, if given the right opportunity and situation. But I was not giving it that opportunity. I was allowing it to be tortured, abused, and murdered. I am disgusted with myself at that moment. I was disgusted with myself. I was eating a being that simply wanted to live, and I stripped that right from it selfishly out of its hands. I stripped that right of him or her simply wanting to live right out of its hands. This quote from Charles Darwin describes it perfectly. "There is no fundamental difference between man and animal in their ability to feel pleasure and pain, happiness and misery." I proceeded to run to my bathroom and cry, bawling my eyes out. I have never cried harder in my life. I have never felt so guilty and shameful in my life. I've pictured myself chewing this being. And from that bathroom floor, I vowed I would never eat meat again. I felt so much better after going vegetarian. I eliminated a ton of my symptoms. First one was vomiting. Now, I didn't completely eliminate it, but I significantly decreased it. I would vomit every time I would eat for my gastroparesis if I ate meat. Once I stopped eating meat, my vomiting significantly decreased. Also, my energy level increased. Even though I have chronic fatigue, my usual baseline fatigue felt so much better. Also, my mood. I was and am so much happier and joyful. Trust me, aligning your moral values with your day-to-day life is such an empowering feeling. It is such a special feeling that I cannot describe in words. For dairy and eggs, I had a little bit of a different journey. For some reason, I never felt as guilty, which blows my mind now. I thought, well, they don't get killed, so it's not as cruel. But that is completely 100% false. These poor heifers live their lives being raped, inseminated, pregnant, and then get their babies ripped away from them. This cycle repeats their whole entire life until they're deemed too old or sick to be pregnant, and then they get sent to the slaughterhouse. Just like that. No questioning of their rights, of their emotional well-being. They just, once they're done producing, they're right to the slaughterhouse. Can you imagine the pain that this mother and baby feel when they get ripped away from each other? This baby that you carried for however long getting ripped away from you hours after they were born. Imagine giving birth to a baby, having it for a few hours and getting it ripped away from you, never seeing it again. And you know that this baby will either become another heifer who's producing babies their whole life, or it'll be a boy who'll be sent straight to the slaughterhouse. Picture that. Like, picture that. Never being able to bond, never being able to, breastfeed, nothing. Just gone right away. It's a sick industry. It's sick. It is disgusting. It is morally wrong. It is gross. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go get something done quickly. I changed my top because I was cold, and now I'm gonna continue. Like I was saying, can you imagine the pain that this mother and baby feel when they get ripped away from each other hours after they were born? Hours. This baby that you carried getting ripped away from you hours after they were born. What a sick industry. There are countless videos of the mom's blood-curdling screams for their baby, and they will never see them again. You have never heard a scream or cry until you've seen one of them cry. I'm going to insert a clip right now. If you choose to not watch it, there will be a time frame on the screen that you can skip ahead to. This video will be a clip of those screams. I recommend that you watch it so you know what they're feeling and their pain they're experiencing. But if you choose to not watch that, you can skip ahead. Another thing, why is it okay to drink cow's milk, yet we say it's gross to not drink cheetah milk, pig's milk, elephant milk? I could go on for every single animal. Why is it weird why is it weird to drink cheetah's milk or pig's milk, but it's not weird to drink cow's milk? And also, why is it weird when people think it's gross thinking about breast milk? Milk that comes from your own species is gross. Yet milk from a different species is not gross. I don't understand that. Let's just say, very quickly, my previous notion of me deeming the dairy industry as not cruel dissipated very quickly. I started eliminating with yogurt and cheese. These things I didn't really enjoy. They were not big in my diet. Didn't really care.
Hey everyone, I wanted to jump in quick while I'm editing this video to mention a few things that I forgot to mention. Like I said in the video, yogurt and cheese were not a big part of my personal diet. That does not mean that they're not a big part of your diet, because I know for a fact that a lot of people, yogurt and cheese is a huge part of their diet. I'm going to include photos of brands of both yogurts and cheese, vegan yogurts and cheeses that I thoroughly enjoy and purchase every time I go grocery shopping. I will make sure I insert those in the next couple slides so you guys get ideas of some of my favorites yogurt, cheese, and I'm also going to include my favorite cream cheese brand to put on bagels and stuff. So I want to make it very clear that I know that yogurt and cheese are a huge part of a lot of people's diets. So I'm going to include some of my favorite alternatives.
I then proceeded to buy soy milk. I now prefer almond or cashew, but then it was soy. Without removing cow's milk. So I added it as an additive instead of taking it away right away. Then I said I won't drink straight up milk. I just drank soy milk. After that, I used soy milk in my ice cream shakes. I then proceeded to remove eggs. This was more challenging, but as my gastroparesis worsened, eggs needed to be eliminated whether I wanted them to or not. Same thing with milk, same thing with cheese. Eventually, it wasn't my choice, it was my stomach's choice. But if you don't have stomach problems, God forbid, it's more of a mental thing, and you can eliminate these things as you feel comfortable, like I said. Eventually, ice cream was last. I loved ice cream, but I quickly found my new favorite. It's called Almond Dream. My two favorite flavors are the mint chocolate chip and the toffee almond fudge. Those are my two personal favorites. There's also a lot of ones. There's one called Nadamu. It looks like this. There's coconut ice cream. There's cashew ice cream. There's LACTAID ice cream, which I'm not sure is vegan. I'll write right here if it's vegan or not sure. But trust me, they're fantastic. Like, if you ever, it just tastes like, oh, heaven. Once that was over, I struggled. I had a struggle removing pastry items like bagels, cupcakes, cakes, cookies, muffins, etc. I was like, well, there's not that much dairy, so it can't be that bad, which is just horrible reasoning. Eliminate that reasoning. It's just a horrible mentality to have. Anytime you have dairy or eggs, you're contributing to an industry of cruelty and murder. So for pastry items, I realized that there are so many better alternatives. You can make your own. There are a few websites I will link down below under the category of pastry. Minimalist Baker is my #1 favorite. There are a few others that I use for things like waffles, cakes, cupcakes, muffins, breads, banana breads, things like that. Even regular breads. I'll leave links of my favorite places down below. Feel so much better. I can't even describe to you how much better I feel, how much more energetic I feel, how much healthier I feel, how much happier I feel. Improvement in my skin, hair, nails, body, rest of my skin, things like brain fog, vision, oral health, everything like that has drastically improved. Now, keep in mind, I still have chronic illnesses, meaning that I still feel sick every single day. But the important thing to remember here is that I feel 1,000,000 times better being vegan and chronically ill than I was feeling being a meat eater being chronically ill. Yes, I still have symptoms, and no, these symptoms are not caused by me being vegan. For the last time, I get that question every single day. How are you chronically ill and you're vegan? Did veganism cause you to be chronically ill? No, 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 no. That is not the case. Veganism is a huge reason why I am doing so well today. Keep in mind, I'm still sick. I still did just get my port placed. I still have a feeding tube. I still do IV infusions. I still take 40+ pills a day. I still do PT. All of those things still exist. Yet I feel 1,000,000 times better being vegan than not. Because not only am I vegan, that's one person, but one person tells another person, and that person tells another person, and it just spreads like rapid fire. And I love that. That's awesome. That's my goal. And I always say, I'm just here to educate. Take it for what you want. Like I'm saying, I'm not pressuring anybody to do anything. I'm simply educating on my story and my positive experience with veganism. And I want to make sure that all of you guys know that and recognize that and realize that it was such a good thing for me. And I hope that if not vegan, if not vegetarian, if not pescatarian, you can at least watch this video and, you know, be entertained or learn something and take it for what it's worth in your opinion. And I just appreciate you watching this video. I cannot ever control how my body feels or how it works because of my chronic illnesses, or whether you're chronically ill or not. But I can control what I use to fuel my body and how I take care of my body orally and via tube feeds. And by using these tools and these healthy plant-based foods to try to heal my body and recover my body, and that's already happening, and it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. Like I said, being vegan was the best decision I have ever made and will ever make. Like I said, I will be making more videos about veganism and my journey, and if you have more questions, I'll be making a question and answer video very soon about my chronic illnesses and or veganism. Please let me know. I would love to answer them. Also, I am always, like I said before, I'm always open to questions and, you know, having peaceful, kind conversation. So please start that with me. I love that. Even if you don't agree with me, that's okay. Like I am kind to everybody, no matter if you have my beliefs or not. I'm just here to tell you about my story and my journey, and that's about it. So thank you so very much for watching this video. I truly appreciate you listening to my story, and I hope it inspired you at the very least. Bye.